So, we are on our way home from Lake Louise, going to Edmonton. We have an event we want to make in Edmonton, so time is of the essence to get home. That said, we're going to try to bypass the Canmore Supercharger on the way and just stop at Red Deer. The car, when we put home in as a destination, absolutely picked us to stop at Canmore for about 5 minutes, it said. So we put a destination in instead of directly to the Red Deer Supercharger, and told it still said wanted us to charge it at Canmore. Press the button to remove all charging stops, and this is what we have. It's saying we can make it there with 6%. It's 317 kilometers. It is winter. Nice in winter. We have 386 kilometers rated range. So we have a bit of a buffer there, and that 6%. And it's downhill for much of the way. So this will be interesting to see if we can make it to Red Deer from Lake Louise in the winter with a P85 D Ludicrous,
right towards
nearly fully charged, without stopping up somewhere. So just a quick check-in. Not too much has changed. We are about 15 minutes into our journey, 20 minutes into our journey, whatever it is. But what we did notice is we gained back, it's gone back to 6%. For a moment though, it was at 7%. So going down the hill from Lake Louise and everything else gained us a little bit. There we go, back to 7. It liked the fact it was being recorded. So that's promising that we will make this to Red Deer. I suspect we won't be at 7% when we get there, probably a bit less, but as long as we get there, it does not matter where we're at. Just another quick check-in again, only been a few minutes, but the good news is we're back up, or we're up even more to 8%. So it should be an easy peasy drive home, we hope. So we've picked up a couple more percent, we're at 10%, and I think now it'll actually let us put a home as a destination, and it will stop trying to reroute us to Canmore. So we're going to try that. We're going to cancel our trip, and we're going to say home. And it thinks.
Please follow the road for 37.
No, it's still, even at 10%, still wants us to stop at Canmore. Interesting. We'll try it again at 11%, see if that's the magic number. So this is pretty much the point of no return. We are just coming in through Canmore here. And it's showing us at 8%, 7%. It's fluctuating. It was as high as 9%. It was interesting that when it was at 10% and we tried to change the destination to go straight to Red Deer again, it still wanted us to charge at Canmore, and when we removed the charging stops, it jumped down to 6%, even though it was 10% a few seconds later or earlier. So how it exactly calculates this is a little bit of a mystery, but at any rate, we're at 9%. It just climbed up to, and we're about to pass the charger in Canmore without stopping. There's the charger in Canmore. So hopefully we are good to make it to the charger in Red Deer. So after getting as high as 10% remaining, we're now down to 5%. So loss of 5% in a sense. Mainly, I think, due to the fact that we've now hit the main highway. We're going the speed limit, 110 kilometers an hour versus the 95 we were doing back in the national park. We already had jumped up to 7. But it'll be interesting to see how going this speed limit, this higher speed, is going to impact our range. You can see it bouncing around there. Just a funny little quirk. We saw there it said stay below 90, and it's actually jumped up to 95. Meanwhile, on the display, this remains at 95 the entire time. It never fluctuates. Odd that on one screen it would say 90 for a period of time, and the other says 95. Here it's saying 90, and here it's saying 95. Well, this is reassuring. We no longer have the stay below 95 or 90, depending on how we want to write it, message. So hopefully that means that we are in the clear. It's probably too early to say that, but we shall see. 6% is what it's telling us. We are going exactly the speed limit. If it gets down below, I think 4% or at 4%, we'll probably slow it down a little bit. And as I make the video, it pops up saying, stay below 100 kilometers an hour to reach your destination, 95 kilometers an hour. But still, that's a slight improvement. We'll take it. So at this point, I think with it again saying 6% remaining when we get to Red Deer, getting a little bit confident that this is actually going to work. So much so that we're going to turn up the heat a little bit. So up to this point, we have it at 21.5. And for most of the trip, we had it blowing just to the window vents for defrost, but recently put it pointing to us because we're getting a little chilly. So with a fan of 2, let's live crazily and put the camera up to, or the fan up to 4, and we'll see how we do with that and if our range buffer drops any. We'll also turn the up to 22.5, whole degree extra. Living large. So another update as we are cutting north of Calgary. We are seeing now 3% buffer drop down from a median of 6 and as high as 10 at some points. Wondering if setting our climate control actually up more than even previously to auto and 24 has had much to do with it. So we're going to turn that back down a little bit now that we're somewhat warmer, and we'll see if we can't have that climb back up. Actually, we'll delay that since we're back to 5. It's so funny how much this graph moves around, or not graph, but number moves around. Seemingly out of nowhere, it will change. So yeah, if it goes back below 5, we will lower the temperature. In the meantime, I'll show that I do believe we have range mode set to on. Yeah, there we go. So the entire trip thus far has been with range mode on. I was actually contemplating turning it off and having the extra heat that provides, but won't do that until we're totally assured we will make it. So we continue onward. Another check-in here. We see ourselves with a 3% buffer. So we've also got back onto 110 kilometer an hour road. So also possibly contributing. Going to lower the temperature here a little bit to buy us some range buffer perhaps. So we will go 3 on our face, and we will turn the temperature down to 22. See how that all does. Just another update. We are down to showing 2%. However, we're only just under 70 kilometers away. Our battery's showing 90 kilometers range. 2% in a P85D is something in the vicinity of about 8 kilometers. So whether it's a delta of about 20 or a delta of about 8, a big difference there, but either way, we are close enough that there is another charger as we enter the city of Red Deer before we get to the Supercharger, that if things get really, really close, we could stop at and charge, thanks to PV Mart and the fact they put chargers at all of their locations. Wouldn't be a fast charge, but would be enough to give us a few electrons to get to the Supercharger without taking too long. But that's just last ditch option. We should be good. Still cruising at the speed limit of 110, passing cars periodically, getting passed periodically as it happens to be. And Miss Passenger, how are we for temperature comfort?
Pretty good.
Toes aren't at all cold?
No, we did some snowshoeing this morning, so I think I'm good.
That's code for we being climatized to being cold. It's a little chilly with the temperature set as it is, but it's certainly not bad at all. Which is 22 and a fan of 3 going to our face and our feet. No fogging issues in the windows, which is great. We should have no issues. one thing I wanted to add was on the way down yesterday, going the opposite direction, we got to the radio supercharger, and presumably because the battery of the car was really cold, it's about the same temperature yesterday as today, and that's minus 16 at the moment. The car was only charging at about 70 kilowatt hours, not the 120 that it can top out at. Obviously that 120 is only when your battery's low, but we weren't getting anything near that, and I'm chalking it up to the car being cold. We were on range mode coming down, we're on range mode right now. Plan is, if we still have a little bit of a buffer, I'll turn range mode off some kilometers before we get into Red Deer, hoping that heats the battery pack potentially and allows us to charge a little bit faster. We will see how that pans out. Another update, 56k rated range remaining. A little more concerning in that it's showing us at 1 kilometer. Oh, good, it just jumped up to 2, false alarm. 2 I'm comfortable with, we're still 45 kilometers out, 1 is a little bit tight. And I was thinking at about 20 minutes before we are due to arrive to switch off range mode. So what difference that makes both in our energy usage and in potentially heating us up, and more importantly the battery for pre-supercharging conditioning. We'll see if I still feel comfortable doing that in a few minutes. Quick update, 52 kilometers rated range, still showing us with 2%, which is fine. We're 42 kilometers away, and our graph is telling us that if we drive as we have in the last 10k, we will do 41 kilometers, which is just about on par to get us there. Let's see how it options if we switch to 25, 41, also the same, and 50, 42. So telling us we've been driving pretty consistently for the past 50 kilometers, and that kind of rate of driving, energy usage, should just get us pulling into the supercharger with a kilometer to spare. And as I say that, our percentage did drop to 1. So still likely make it. A little more cautious about turning range mode off to see what that does, because I don't want it to cause us to lose any range. We might not have any to lose. We'll see what the next little bit brings. So another update, 34 kilometers radio range left. It's saying we'll get there with 1%. It was 2 last I looked, but just dropped to 1. It's saying we have 28 kilometers to go out of our 34 rated range. 20 minutes till we get there. Our consumption graph is showing us about 29 kilometers, so right on the money for how far we have to go. With that said, we have the heat off, and it dropped to about 10 degrees in here. Just checked a moment ago on the app to see the interior temperature. So, going to go ahead and turn range mode off. So there we go, range mode is now off. Turn the heat back on as well, and we'll see what that does to our energy usage and energy reserve. In the meantime, we'll be warm. So 24 kilometers rated range left. We have received the warning, charging needed to reach destination. We are seeing 0%. Too early to tell based on the energy usage if range mode off has made much of a difference. The peak you see there is a hill, not anything directly related to range mode. It's telling us on our 10K that we have 17 kilometers of range, yet we have 21 kilometers to our destination. So that's a little bit tight. Although now that we're past that one hill, it's already climbed. Oh, it climbed, lowered again. 17, 18K. So it's going to be close. So we have 10 kilometers rated range left. We are still getting our warning to charge, we won't make it, 0%. We have 13 kilometers to get there, so now it's 9 left, 13 to go. That's problem 1. Problem 2 is our consumption graph is showing us only getting 7 kilometers. So with those two items, we're going to slow our speed by just 5 and see what kind of difference that makes. It does appear that range mode off has led to a bit of a bump in usage. This line here, before the peak of the hill there, seemed to be on a flat surface. So being higher than what we were saying before, likely possibly attributed to range mode being turned off. And we're nice and toasty. So hello internet, we are driving to Red Deer to Supercharge. We have 5k left on our rated range. We are 9.4k away from Red Deer, and we're showing 3 kilometers projected. So it's going to be tight to get there. Gonna go just a little bit slower to buy ourselves some time, and also going to turn off the heat. We're nice and toasty warm, to also buy ourselves some range, not time. So, wondering if we're going to make it. As exciting as this is, showing us being 8 kilometers away, 4 kilometers of range. It's pretty darn tight. Three kilometers, so we're going to slow down a bit more because we do want to make it. We don't want to run out. Ironically, up ahead is a gas sign. That won't help us out. 7.6. Three kilometers still showing left. 7.1 to go, 3 kilometers showing left. Will we make it to Red Deer to Supercharge, or will our adventure that we've been having take a really weird turn? Showing us with 2 kilometers left. 2 kilometers. We're not quite in Red Deer yet. Will be nice when we get there and the speed limit reduces. 6.4. We are just dropping the distance to go a bit quicker than we're dropping our battery, which is good news. But this is the tightest I've been. So we are 1 kilometer of range. I'm actually slowing way down because I want to make it.
At exit number
We're really close. We're really close. I'd show you my wife's face, but it's not a pleasant one. So, yeah, this is going to be a tight one. Very tight. Oh, and the other thing we're going to do is turn range mode back on. Buy ourselves a bit there as well. We had that off for most of the trip, but turned it on to try to heat the battery pack in anticipation of supercharging. 5 away, 1 left. Moving into the slow lane on the highway because we are going a bit slow. This is going to be interesting. So I officially have no bar left for battery. This is 1 kilometer. Putting our hazards on because we are going a bit slow on the relatively empty highway, but nonetheless. Still at 1 kilometer of range, 4.5 to go to the supercharger. This is tight.
In 1 kilometer at exit number 394 for Getz Avenue. Take the
So we officially have 0 kilometers range, 4 kilometers to go. And we're still on the highway. It'd be nice if we could get off the highway, but that's coming up. Hopefully that's coming up. We'll see. Good news is we won't have to get towed very far. The supercharger is very close. but having to be towed at all would be less than ideal. Plus, we're trying to get somewhere, so the delay of supercharging would not be well received. 3.7. We have the sign, can't really see it in the video, coming up to Red Deer here, so we get to get off the highway and slow down even more. Still 0. I don't think it goes to minus, but we'll see how long it stays at 0.
Now, at exit number 394 for Getz Avenue, take the ramp right.
Speed limit 60, so slowing, or it would be 60, so slowing down. We'll go 10 under 50. That always helps. Can probably turn the flashes off now because we're off the highway. We get to try to play the light game because we really don't want to stop.
In 400 meters, turn left.
So, gonna see if we can coast to the red light, get some regenerative braking in, but try not to have to actually stop. Red light coming up. Still at 0 and 2.5 to go. Heat off. Range mode on. Not much more we can do at this point, other than see we got a green light. We will very gingerly accelerate. Probably the slowest acceleration this car's ever seen. 2.3 to go. Still rating at 0.
Turn left on 19th Street.
Rated range. Holding at
in 600 meters,
45
turn left.
kilometers an hour right away. Hoping to make the light coming up though. Don't want to have to stop yet. We'll make the light. Slow back down to 45. Buy ourselves as much as we can. Still at 0. 1.9 to go. Nervous wife beside me. I'm nervous. This is the closest I've been to. Red light coming up. Slowing down gingerly. We have next to no acceleration. The yellow bar is showing our acceleration cutoff. We're going to have to stop at this light, unfortunately. Not a way around that. Maybe not a complete stop, but pretty much. 1.6 to go. And we get a turning light, so we will make a complete stop here. Unfortunate part here is we can't coast to a safe place if we were to run out at this precise moment. Starting to fog up a little bit. We will live with that. Gingerly taken off. Still 1.6 to go.
Turn left on 22 Street.
More on the road around me. Been at that 0 kilometers for a long time. Up to 40, we won't go any faster than that. Roads also are a bit snow covered, so that adds a little rolling resistance, not in our favor. Hopefully make the next light here. Looks like we will. Slow it back down. So this is tight. 1.3 to go. We've been on 0 for a few kilometers now. Review the footage and find out how much. Going to get into our lane.
In 1 kilometer,
to make the turn to the Supercharger.
To 51 Avenue. Then you will reach your destination.
But a red light. So Savior is in sight. We can see the Sheraton, which is our Supercharger, but we're not at it. 1 kilometer exactly away from GPS readout. Still at 0. Would love to see that magically jump up to above 0. Come to a rolling stop. Eerily quiet. More so than normal in a EV. Not having heat. Gingerly starting off. Very gingerly at this point. Don't want to not make it, so people behind us might be a little upset, but price they pay for our success to get to the Supercharger. So at this point, I could probably get my wife out to push if worse comes to worse. She nods her head, but I'm sure she's grimacing at the same time. 40 kilometers an hour is what I'm going. 700 meters. No indication light ahead of us is going to go red, so that's good. Light in front of that is red. This is where I have to make a decision. Do I turn left? And I think I will, because that will get us a green light sooner.
In 200 meters,
There's an advanced
turn right.
green light here.
In 100 meters, turn right on Geets 50 Avenue.
So we will slow back down, try to capture any of that energy we
In
can.
300 meters, turn left onto 51 Avenue. Then you will
400
reach your
meters.
destination.
In 100
Stopping
meters,
at the light.
turn left on 32 Street. Turn left on
0 to
32
go.
Street.
All sorts of GPS notifications. Crossing fingers, crossing toes. We got our green light here. Take off very slowly. No one behind us at the light, so no rush. So close to this point. We will want to get out of the intersection before it turns green, though. Okay, we are turning into the parking lot for the Supercharger. Going very
Now
slow.
turn right onto
Unfortunately,
51
got a
Avenue.
car in front of us. Oh, we got a green light, though.
In 1.6 kilometers,
So close. Okay,
stay
well,
to the right to
we
Highway
officially
2
won't have
North
to get a tow truck
Edmonton.
because we will push our way out at this juncture. We're in a parking lot. It would be safe to do so. Still at 0. Been at 0 for a while. 140 meters, 130 meters. Hey, James. No one else wanted to watch this live, but that's okay. The replay should be just as enjoyable or terrifying.
In
No
200 meters,
Teslas at the
turn left on
Supercharger.
51 Avenue.
Very promising. We
Then
are going
turn
to make
left.
it. Hopefully. My wife just let out a huge sigh. She's relieved. We haven't quite made it, but again, we can push if we have to. We are just backing in. Can't really see out the window so well. It's fogged up, but no cars here, so we don't have to be too exact. Oh, and we have our rear view camera.
Turn right on Geets
Awesome.
50 Avenue.
So,
Turn right on 32
there is
Street.
a buffer. There is absolutely a buffer for the car. Wow. 0 kilometers for a while. Is the wife relieved? Turn the light on so you can see her. Oh, we can't even turn. Oh, we can.
That was a little bit stressful. We're okay.
All right, well, I'll end this and we'll start charging so we can go home. So we're going to end the video here. One last update. We're at 0 kilometers. We are at the Supercharger. I did a live video on Facebook, so I don't think I can get that footage. But we were at 0 kilometers for probably 4 kilometers. Now we're at 1. But that was extremely tight. So I did have range mode off for about 20 minutes. I turned it on as we got to like 1 or 2 kilometers left. Also turned the heat off as we got super short on range. But it was nice to see a little buffer. Don't try that, especially with a wife in the car, because you can strain relationships, but we made it. Once we got to the parking lot of the Supercharger, even if we did run out, one of us, me, could get out and push the car if we had to the Supercharger. So, but that was awfully close, but we made it. Here are some summary statistics about the trip. We see our driving time being 3 hours, 22 minutes. We went 329 kilometers with a rated range used of 388. Our efficiency, watt hour per kilometer, wasn't too bad at 236. I can get under 200 on summer days, and often in cold weather I'm in the 300 range, so 236 actually is not too bad, all things considered. That's telling us that we're getting 85 essentially percent efficiency, which is 15% decrease in range due to the elements, the cold weather in this case. I tend to think of it as a rule of thumb. every 10 degrees under 0 Celsius, you will lose about 10% of your range. So since the average temperature was minus 16, as we see here, losing about 15% of our range is right on the money as far as the rule of thumb goes. Of course, this is helped by the fact that we did go downhill to an amount of 881 meters, and we had an average speed of 98 kilometers per hour. An interesting fact, we used 99% of our battery or thereabouts, and that equated to about 77 kilowatt hours of power, even though I have an 85 kilowatt hour pack. So there is an amount in the battery that is, it has been documented elsewhere that Tesla does overrate the capacity of the batteries. So not too surprising that me using essentially the whole battery, I did not get anywhere near the full 85 kilowatt usage out of it. Here we can see some graphical information about the trip. We're seeing the blue line being state of charge, the red line being the speed, and the yellow line being the elevation. State of charge and elevation are pretty much linked. State of charge is pretty linear down to 0, except for when I go down a hill here, as well as go down a hill here, we can see that the state of charge flatlines a little bit as I'm going down that hill and possibly putting a little bit back into the pack with regen. It's interesting that there isn't a corresponding increase of usage shown, but perhaps if the information was zoomed in, that would become more apparent. Looking at speed, we started off relatively slow going down a mountain. We then get to consistent speed in a national park, a higher consistent speed once that national park is left. As we get near a city, our speed slows down a little bit but stays consistent, and then back up to the higher 110 kilometer an hour speed. And all the time there's certain fluctuations downwards as we get behind a slower moving car, or whatever the case may be. And then at the end of the journey, as range gets close to 0 and hits 0, you see the speed drastically start to drop as I'm trying to eke out every last bit possible. This is some more information about the trip, this time focusing on the temperature. This graph is going to show us the various elements. We have cabin temperature in blue, outside temperature in red, what we've selected as our interior temperature in yellow, the fan state in green, and honestly not too sure what the AC is in relation to, but we weren't cooling the car, so maybe that's why we don't see it. So taking a look at the beginning section of the trip, of course the set temperature is only part of the story. The fan speed is also important, so we see it starting off at, I think that was 4 thereabouts. With the initial preheating, we had a burst of really warm, comfortable temperature inside the car. Turned the fan right off for a short period near the beginning of the journey, just trying to gauge what was going to work for our range. We see the car quickly cool off as a result of that. We then turn the fan back on, lower by a half degree or so for a very consistent period. We see the interior relatively consistent throughout, around 13 degrees, although it is dropping as we go. The temperature outside throughout most of the trip is fairly consistent, but dropping probably mostly to do with air entering the car from seals that aren't quite perfect. It's interesting that we get a section here where the car warms up, but at the same time nothing changed as far as temperature set or fan speed. Temperature was consistent here and fan speed was consistent here, and the outside weather actually almost or looks like it might have dropped a little bit in that same period of time. So what explains this increase in temperature? I think it matches up to when we hit a slightly slower speed limit, going around 100 instead of 110. That might have been enough for air to not enter the cab as much and the car to be able to keep up with heating. So it goes to say that The slower you go, not only is that better for decreased draw on the battery and extended range directly, but also indirectly, because the amount of energy you'll need to heat the car in cool weather will be decreased as well. At this point, we decide we want to get a little bit warmer, increasing the set temperature of the car to, I think that was maybe 24, as well as increasing the fan speed. We see that that certainly works and keeps our temperature fairly high and comfy for a period of time. However, at this period, we get a bit spooked with what our range is looking like. So the temperature got turned down and the fan speed also got adjusted downward. The interior temperature took a small hit as a result, but nothing too severe here. At this time, we lower the fan speed to 0, the green line, see a corresponding drop in the interior temperature with the blue line. I can't recall exactly, but this was likely around where we were, again, concerned about range. That concern didn't last very long, as at this point, turn the fan up to about half 5 and see a immediate increase in our comfort level. This is also, I think, about the time that we turned range mode off. But with range mode turned off, we then saw our range drop, and as we got quite concerned about making it to our destination, we turned the fan off again, saw a corresponding drop in interior temperature, and we stuck with that until we reached our charger.